So on paper, the college degree is, well, it's basically dead. Everyone from tech CEOs to politicians is shouting skills over degrees right now.
Right, yeah, we constantly hear that the four-year university model is just totally obsolete.
Exactly. But if you actually look at how hiring managers behave in the real world, I mean, how they actually spend their budgets and filter candidates, they are clinging to the college degree tighter than ever.
Yeah, they really are. And it creates this massive translation error between academia and corporate America.
It totally does. Academia speaks in these broad theoretical frameworks, while corporations, well, they speak in specific software platforms and immediate quarterly deliverables,
And caught right in the middle of that translation error is you, just trying to navigate a career.
which is why we are doing a deep dive today into Jonathan H. Westover's recent analysis. He just broke down this massive, newly released 2025 Luminat Foundation Gallup survey.
Yes, and it covers 2,000 U.S. employers. And these aren't just, middle managers giving opinions on LinkedIn. These are the people holding actual hiring authority. They control the budgets, and they make the final call on who gets the offer letter.
The mission for our deep dive today is to cut completely through the corporate buzzwords. We're going to figure out what employers actually want, why higher education isn't quite hitting the mark, and how this impacts your own career path.
It's essentially like buying a high-end gadget that arrives without batteries.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, employers are getting college graduates who look amazing on paper but aren't quite ready to, power on in the workplace.
What's fascinating here is that we are at a highly unique crossroads right now. The rules of the labor market are being completely rewritten.
We have massive policy flux regarding workforce training, intense demographic pressures like an aging workforce, and of course the unprecedented disruption of generative AI.
Right, which is rapidly shifting what it even means to be job ready. The stakes of this deep dive are incredibly high for anyone looking to stay relevant.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if we want to understand the problem, we first have to look at the conflicting signals employers are sending.
As we mentioned, we constantly hear the rhetoric of skills over degrees, but the 2025 survey shows that 48% of employers view a college degree as absolutely essential for most roles.
And an overwhelming 74% anticipate degrees will be just as, or even more important, in 5 years.
It's wild. To understand why that happens, we have to look back at Michael Spence's 1973 signaling theory.
Right, yes. Spence argued that degrees basically act as a structural signal of persistence and trainability.
So a degree doesn't necessarily prove you know how to do the job. What it proves is your persistence.
Exactly. It signals that you can, endure a complex bureaucracy, manage arbitrary deadlines, navigate difficult group projects, and show up consistently for 4 years.
So it's a structural proxy. But here is the twist, and this is where the perception gap really opens up. Even though employers demand these degrees, only 54% actually believe colleges are graduating students with the skills their businesses need.
Wait, really? Barely half?
Barely half. Furthermore, 69% of employers say recent grads need moderate to extensive additional training.
So wait, it's like demanding a candidate have a driver's license, but then not actually trusting them to drive the car.
That is exactly what it's like.
I have to ask, though, is this skills gap even real? Or are employers just being unrealistic and trying to avoid paying for training?
That is a highly debated point. Scholars actually debate this exact issue all the time, but the survey suggests a middle ground.
Okay.
Degrees certify foundational knowledge, sure, but they completely fail to deliver applied, firm-specific competencies.
Right, so if degrees are acting like these really expensive, imperfect entry tickets, who is actually footing the bill for this misalignment?
Well, let's look at the organizational costs first. It costs an average of $4,700 per hire, according to SHRM.
Wow, just to hire them.
Just to hire them. And extended onboarding delays productivity even further. In the 2020 to 2021 period, U.S. organizations spent a staggering $92.3 billion on employee training.
$92.3 billion, just to bridge these gaps.
Yes, just to teach the things the universities missed. And there's another consequence mentioned in the text. 56% of employers have a hard time finding candidates with the right skills.
Which is a huge operational bottleneck.
It is, leading 38% of them to rely on foreign-born talent. The survey impartially notes that 36% of employers anticipate negative impacts from changes to H-1B visa requirements.
And I think we should just explicitly state to you listening, we're simply reporting the data and concerns held by the surveyed employers here.
Exactly. We are absolutely not taking any political stance on immigration policy. We are just looking at the mechanical reality of how these organizations are adapting.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, a McKinsey estimate suggests that fixing this alignment could unlock $1.5 trillion in global GDP.
$1.5 trillion. That is almost hard to comprehend, but it's not just corporations suffering, it's individuals.
Yeah, it's you navigating the system.
The paper highlights a devastating stat. 40% of recent bachelor's degree holders are underemployed in their first job.
Oh man, 40%, that's almost half.
It leads to heavy debt burdens without the promised wage premiums. And Westover notes this takes a massive psychological toll.
So how are the smartest organizations stopping this bleed of money and talent?
Well, the survey found that 23% of employers actually removed degree requirements for certain roles.
Okay, that's progress, right?
You would think so.
Right.
But hilariously, 76% of employers still prefer candidates to have a degree anyway.
Oh, come on. Even for the jobs where they remove the requirement.
Yes, old habits die hard. The key to fixing this, according to the paper, is transparent skill signaling.
Right, like what IBM is doing. They eliminated degree requirements for half its U.S. jobs.
And they focused instead on new-collar roles, like cybersecurity and cloud computing.
They're validating skills through their own training in P-Tech schools. They basically built a parallel credentialing universe.
But let me push back here for a second. Are normal employers really going to take the time to co-design college courses, or is that a pipe dream? IBM has endless resources.
It's a fair question.
Yeah.
But you don't have to build a school from scratch. Look at Northeastern University's century-old cooperative education model.
Oh, the co-op model.
Yeah. Students do 6-month paid work experiences, and employers actually do co-design the learning objectives with the university ahead of time.
That makes so much sense. It's totally different from a normal summer internship.
Exactly. Siemens USA has a similar thing. They run an advanced manufacturing apprenticeship combining community college with paid on-the-job training.
And the retention rate on that is wild.
Yes, 90% retention. Because the psychological contract and financial incentives align perfectly from day one.
Apprenticeships fix the entry-level problem for sure. But what happens when technology shifts and your job completely changes overnight?
That is the reality of the modern economy.
I compare it to a smartphone. A college degree is the factory hardware. But lifelong upskilling is the constant OS software updates you need to stop the system from crashing.
That is a perfect analogy. AT&T actually realized this. They launched a massive $1 billion future-ready initiative.
$1 billion just on internal upskilling.
Yes, they retrained tens of thousands of employees via online degrees and micro-credentials to prevent their legacy skills from becoming obsolete.
That requires so much transparency. Deloitte does something similar with their public competency model, right?
They do. It's a way companies are setting totally transparent expectations. They break down every single role into specific observable skills.
This raises an important question, though. What skills actually matter when things change so fast?
It's not just coding or tech skills. It's adaptability, ethical reasoning, and resilience.
The human skills.
Exactly. The paper introduces the concept of the T-shaped professional.
I love this concept. Let's break this down.
So visualize the letter T. Someone with deep technical expertise, that's the vertical bar. But they also have a broad contextual understanding and liberal learning, which is the horizontal bar.
So you need that vertical depth to actually get hired and be immediately useful.
Right, but that horizontal bar is what allows a software engineer to actually communicate with the marketing team. It prevents you from being siloed.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener?
That is the big question.
The core takeaway is that the labor market isn't abandoning degrees, but a degree alone is no longer enough.
Not even close to enough.
You need verifiable applied competencies and a mindset geared toward lifelong learning. It is the fundamental survival strategy now.
And that actually leads to a final thought I want to leave everyone with. It builds on the paper's brief mention of blockchain-based lifelong learning records.
Oh, wow. What does that look like?
Imagine a scenario in the near future where hiring algorithms bypass human recruiters entirely. Instead, they autonomously read your tamper-proof, blockchain-verified credential wallet.
So basically, a cryptographic ledger of every single skill you've ever mastered.
Exactly. Verified by the people who taught it to you. If a machine is evaluating your lifelong learning ledger directly against a company's real-time skill gaps, well, the traditional resume might become completely extinct.
And the traditional college transcript right along with it.
Yeah. So the question is, how would you start building your blockchain credential wallet today?
That is a wild, slightly intimidating thought to end on, but it makes perfect sense. We are moving toward a world of absolute, verifiable proof. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning, keep connecting the dots, and whatever you do, make sure you bring your own batteries.